In the endless cycle of seeking validation from others, you work hard, make progress, and just wish someone would. Notice, you long for that recognition, that approval, whether it's from your friends, family, or colleagues. But what if I told you that this constant need for external validation is actually holding you back? What if I told you that when you depend on others' opinions to feel good about yourself, you give away your personal power? And here's the kicker. The same people who cheer you on today might just ignore you tomorrow. So, what happens when the applause stops? What happens to your confidence when there's no one there to acknowledge your progress? This is why the most important thing you can do is focus on yourself, not in a selfish way, but in a way that allows you to grow every single day. You have to prioritize your own growth, your own development, and your own peace of mind. It's time to stop chasing the approval of others. When you shift your focus inward, you stop worrying about what everyone else is doing. You stop chasing after people who don't appreciate your worth. You stop explaining yourself to those who are committed to misunderstanding you. Instead, you turn all that energy back to yourself, where it actually makes a difference. This is where the true power lies, within yourself. It's so easy to get caught up in the noise of other people's opinions, isn't it? Maybe you have big dreams, but you're afraid to take the first step because you don't know how people will react. Or maybe you're making progress, but every time you do, someone has something negative to say. Let me tell you something. People will always have opinions. They will always talk, judge, and criticize. But here's the hard truth. Their opinions don't pay your bills. Their opinions don't put food on your table. And most importantly, their opinions do not define your worth at the moment you start prioritizing your own growth over seeking their validation. That's when you become unstoppable. You stop constantly looking around, wondering if people are noticing your progress. You stop posting every little achievement just to prove to others that you're making strides. You stop living for the approval of people who probably wouldn't even notice if you disappeared. Instead, you focus on the things that matter: your growth, your goals, and your discipline. And here's where the magic happens. When you begin to focus solely on yourself and your journey, you develop a level of discipline that becomes unshakable. You wake up every day, not because someone is watching or expecting something from you, but because you know it's necessary. You do the work because you know the results will speak for themselves. In the end, there is incredible power in moving in silence. You don't need to announce every goal, every plan, every little victory. You simply keep working. You keep showing up. You keep growing. And before you know it, the results will be undeniable. The people who doubted you will start to take notice. The ones who didn't believe in you will finally see it. But by then, their opinions won't even matter because you didn't do it for them. You did it for yourself. And that's where your true power lies, within your own ability to stay focused and keep pushing forward, no matter what anyone else thinks. Now, let's talk about something truly transformative: peace. When you truly focus on yourself and stop letting others dictate your emotions, you develop a level of peace that no one can shake. You no longer get caught up in the judgments or opinions of others. You don't feel the need to explain yourself or defend your choices. You simply live in your own power, knowing that you are enough, just as you are. You'll stop engaging in unnecessary arguments, trying to prove your worth to people who are never going to see it. You'll stop giving energy to things that drain you. And here's the key. You'll no longer feel like you need to constantly prove yourself to anyone. When you stop needing external validation, You finally understand that your worth has never depended on anyone's opinion, but your own. So, the next time you feel yourself falling into the trap of seeking validation, stop and take a moment. Ask yourself, why am I doing this? Is it because I need someone else's approval? Or is it because I believe in my own potential? When you prioritize your own validation, when you stop chasing approval and start living for yourself, everything will shift. You'll become unstoppable. You'll gain a level of peace and inner strength that no one can take away from you. Because at the end of the day, your life is yours to live. Not your boss's, not your friends', and certainly not society's. It's yours. And when you stop seeking validation from others, you'll realize that the only approval you need is your own. So, let me leave you with this question. Are you going to keep living for the approval of others? Or are you going to start living for yourself? When you choose the latter, nothing and no one will be able to stop you. Your time is now. The power of self-validation and silence. Your journey. Your rulers continuing from our earlier discussion, where we touched on the importance of not seeking validation from others. Let's dive deeper into understanding why this concept is essential to your growth. The truth is, your value does not decrease because someone else fails to see it. This is a powerful truth that you need to internalize. The world may not always recognize your potential, but that does not diminish your worth in any way. So let me ask you, are you living for them, or are you living for yourself? Are you making decisions based on what you truly want, or are you adjusting your choices to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be? Think about it for a moment. At the end of the day, you are the one who has to live with the decisions you make. You are the one who has to look in the mirror and be proud of the person staring back at you, not anyone else. That's why it's time to stop seeking permission to be great. Stop waiting for someone to recognize your potential before you take action. Don't wait for the world to clap for you before you decide to believe in yourself. If you want to grow, grow. If you want to change your life, change it. Don't waste another second waiting for someone else to validate your dreams. The truth is, you are enough, and the only approval you will ever truly need is your own. The strength of silence is one of the most underrated strengths you can possess. In today's world is the power of silence. In a time when everyone feels the need to announce every thought, every move, and every opinion, silence has become a rare commodity. But silence is not weakness, insecurity, or a lack of confidence. On the contrary, silence is a strategy. Silence is discipline. It's the understanding that not everything needs to be shared, that not every move needs to be announced, and that not every opinion deserves a response. Think about this. How often do you see someone posting every little detail of their day, constantly sharing their thoughts, or every small accomplishment? In this world, there's an obsession with being heard. But real power doesn't come from talking. It comes from doing. It comes from knowing when to speak, and more importantly, when to remain silent. Silence is a tool for those who know that their actions speak louder than words. It's about focusing on what you're building and not needing to share every step of it with the world. Imagine walking through life knowing that your value, your progress, and your potential don't need to be validated by anyone else. The irony is, silence makes many people uncomfortable. They might mistake it for insecurity, but in truth, silence can be a powerful tool for growth. When you learn to control your words, you gain control over your life. The reality is, most people love noise. They love drama and attention. So many fall into the trap of thinking they need to explain themselves to everyone prove their worth, or react to every piece of negativity thrown their way. But let me tell you this, you don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. The people who truly matter will see your progress without you needing to say a word. The ones who don't, well, they were never really paying attention in the first place. The power of moving in silence, if you look at the most successful people in the world, you'll see something they all have in common. They don't waste their time arguing online. They don't spend their energy proving themselves to people who are committed to misunderstanding them. They don't feel the need to announce every move they make. Why? Because they understand that real success is built in silence. It's in those quiet moments when no one is watching, when no one is clapping, and when no one even knows what's happening, that real growth takes place. Some of you are letting the need for validation slow you down. You want people to see what you're doing, to acknowledge your efforts. And when they don't, you start to doubt yourself. But here's the hard truth. Their approval is not required for you to succeed. You don't need to broadcast every move to prove you're making progress. When the time is right, the work will speak for itself. The results will become undeniable. Protect your dreams. Some things in life need protection. Your plans, your growth, your dreams, they are sacred. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts, your emotions, or your next move. Sometimes, the best thing you can do is keep things to yourself. Think about this. The moment you allow others to see everything, you give them the power to influence it, whether for good or bad. When you keep things private, when you don't share every little detail with the world, you protect your energy and maintain your focus. It's natural to want recognition, to seek approval. But here's what happens when you make your progress about you and not others. You free yourself from the weight of others' expectations. You stop living for the approval of others and start living for your own growth. When you stop seeking validation, you move freely. And that's where true power comes from, when you stop needing to explain yourself and you just start living your truth. So, ask yourself, how much of your energy have you wasted on trying to get others to notice your journey? And more importantly, how much of that energy could be redirected to making real progress in your life? The truth is, when you live for yourself, when you protect your energy and keep your focus on what truly matters, you will experience growth like never before. The next time you feel the urge to share every detail or explain every choice, take a step back. Ask yourself if this is helping you grow, or if it's just feeding your need for validation. And when you truly realize that you are enough, just as you are, your life will begin to transform in ways you never imagined. Keep moving forward quietly and steadily, and the results will come. The power of silence. How to stop seeking approval and focus on your own growth. Continuing from where we left off, we discussed how silence can become your secret weapon for success. Now, let's dive deeper into how constant external validation and comparison can hinder your progress and keep you stuck in a cycle of doubt and distraction. Here's the truth. When you start telling everyone about what you're working on, you invite their opinions, doubts, negativity, and distractions into your life. And some of these voices will plant seeds of doubt in your mind before you even get started. You might have experienced this yourself. Have you ever noticed that the people who talk the most usually accomplish the least? That's because they spend all their energy trying to convince others of their potential, instead of actually doing the work. But here's the key: when you move in silence, when you focus on execution instead of explanation, you free yourself from that trap. You stop worrying about who believes in you, and you stop seeking applause. You simply do the work. And when you do that consistently, the results will be so undeniable that you won't have to say a thing. Your progress will speak for itself. Mastering the art of silence makes you unpredictable. People won't know what you're up to, so they can't interfere with your plans. They won't be able to sabotage what they don't see coming. And this gives you a significant advantage. While they're busy talking, you're busy building. While they're distracted by the noise, you're making progress in peace. Silence doesn't mean you're weak or afraid. No, silence means you understand that words alone don't create success, action does. It means you know that not every battle is worth fighting. Not every opinion deserves a response. And not every move needs an announcement. It means you trust yourself enough to know that what's meant for you will come, whether people see it coming or not. One of the biggest traps in life is comparison. It sneaks up on you when you least expect it. Maybe you were feeling confident about your progress, proud of how far you've come, and then suddenly you see someone else doing better, moving faster, achieving more. And just like that, your confidence starts to crack. You start questioning yourself. Am I behind? Am I not good enough? Should I be doing more? But here's what you need to understand. Comparison is a distraction. If you let it, it will rob you of your focus, your energy, and your joy. The truth is, no two people have the same journey. You weren't meant to follow someone else's timeline. You weren't meant to have the same struggles, the same success, or the same breakthroughs as the person next to you. And yet, so many people waste their time measuring themselves against others instead of focusing on their own path. They look at someone else's success and start feeling like they're failing. They see what someone else has, and suddenly, what they have doesn't feel like enough. But the problem isn't that they're lacking, it's that they're looking in the wrong direction. When you spend your time comparing yourself to others, you take your eyes off your own progress. You stop seeing how far you've come because you're too busy watching someone else's highlight reel. And let's be honest here, people only show you what they want you to see. Social media makes this even worse. You're not seeing the late nights, the failures, the doubts, or the moments of struggle. You're seeing the polished version of their life, the best parts, the finished product. And here's the catch. If you compare your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel, you will always feel like you're not enough. You will always feel like you're falling short. But the truth is, you are on your own journey. And comparing your progress to someone else's is an exercise in futility. That's why you need to discipline your mind to stay focused on your own path. It doesn't matter what someone else is doing. It doesn't matter how fast they are moving or how successful they seem. What matters is that you are growing, that you are improving, and that you are becoming better than you were yesterday. At the end of the day, the only person you should be competing with is yourself. You don't need to measure yourself against someone else's standards. You don't need to chase after things just because other people have them. You don't need to live by someone else's definition of success. You need to create your own. Some of you are holding yourselves back because you're too focused on the wrong things. You're looking around, checking to see who's ahead, who's behind, who's watching. But none of that matters. What someone else is doing has nothing to do with your journey. Your path is yours alone. The moment you start truly focusing on yourself, on your growth, your dreams, your progress, everything will change. You stop feeling the pressure to prove something to others. You stop chasing things just because other people have them. You stop living by someone else's definition of success and start creating your own. This shift is empowering. It's not about competing with the world, it's about becoming the best version of yourself. It's about moving forward in your own time, at your own pace, and for your own reasons. The moment you embrace this, you'll unlock a new level of freedom. You're not racing against anyone else. You're racing against the version of yourself that you were yesterday. And when you focus on that, your journey becomes far more fulfilling. You will realize that every step you take, every decision you make is a step toward building the life you want, not the life someone else says you should have done so. The next time you feel tempted to compare your progress to someone else's, take a deep breath and refocus. Remember, you're on your own path, and it's not a race. It's your journey. Make it count. Protecting your energy, the key to staying focused and achieving your goals. Building on our previous discussion, where we explored how comparison and distractions can slow you down, let's talk about something just as crucial: how to protect your most valuable resource, your energy. It's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of other people's lives, in the constant comparisons and judgments. But let me remind you of something important. Just because someone else is winning doesn't mean you're losing. Life is not a race. There is no deadline for success. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be. Don't think about it. When runners are in a race, the moment they start looking to the side to see where their competitors are, they slow down. Their form breaks, their momentum shifts, and they lose focus. Why does this happen? Because they stopped running their own race and started worrying about someone else's. And that's exactly what happens when you allow comparison to take over your life. You slow down, you lose momentum, and you start making decisions based on what other people are doing instead of what's right for you. But when you stay in your lane, when you keep your eyes forward and your mind focused, you move differently. You stop letting outside distractions dictate your pace. You start trusting that what's meant for you will come in its own time. You begin to understand that success isn't about being first, it's about being consistent. So today, I want you to make a decision to stop looking around and start looking within. A decision to stop measuring yourself against others and start measuring yourself against who you were yesterday. Because at the end of the day, the only competition that truly matters is the one between you and your own potential. And here's the most beautiful thing: if you can wake up every day and say, "I'm better than I was yesterday," then you are already winning. Guarding your energy, the key to lasting success. Energy is one of the most valuable things you have. Yet, too many people waste it on things that don't matter, on arguments that lead nowhere, on proving themselves to people who don't care, and on holding on to things that should have been let go of a long time ago. But here's the thing: when you begin to realize just how precious your energy is, you begin to protect it. You stop giving it away so easily. You become intentional about where it goes, who gets access to it, and what you allow to take up space in your mind. Not everything deserves your attention. Not every comment needs a response. Not every situation requires your involvement. Some of you are exhausted, not because you're working hard toward your goals, but because you're spending too much time dealing with things that don't serve you. You let small distractions pull you away from what actually matters. You let negativity enter your space when it should have been ignored. You engage in conversations that drain you instead of uplifting you. And then you wonder why you feel stuck, why you feel like you're running in circles. It's not that you're incapable. It's that you're spending your energy in all the wrong places. Learning to be selective. The power of saying enough. Truth is, not everyone deserves access to you. Just because someone demands your time doesn't mean you have to give it. Just because someone questions your choices doesn't mean you have to explain yourself. You don't owe the world an explanation for how you choose to live your life. Some things are meant to be handled in silence. Some battles aren't worth fighting. Some people are only there to distract you, to test you, to pull you off course. And if you're not careful, you'll find yourself spending more time dealing with them than focusing on your own growth and progress. There's a difference between being busy and being productive. Some people spend their entire lives being busy but never truly move forward. They're always caught up in something, always involved in drama, always reacting to every little thing that comes their way. But at the end of the day, they have nothing to show for it. No progress, no peace, no real growth. Why is that? Because they never learned how to protect their energy. They let too many things drain them, and by the time they get around to their own goals, they have nothing left to give. Making real progress, protecting your space, but when you start being selective with your energy, everything changes. You stop entertaining meaningless distractions. You stop allowing people to pull you into their chaos. You stop explaining yourself to those who were never really listening in the first place. You start moving differently. You start protecting your space, and most importantly, you start making real progress. People will always have opinions. They will always have something to say about what you're doing. But when you've built the strength to protect your peace and your focus, their opinions become irrelevant. You don't need anyone's validation. You don't need anyone's approval. The only thing you need is to trust yourself and stay focused on your own path. Because in the end, it's your life to live. And when you finally make the decision to stop wasting your energy on things that don't matter, you'll find that success becomes a natural byproduct of your discipline, focus, and personal growth. You'll stop looking to others for validation and start relying on your own belief in yourself. This shift will not only bring you peace, but also allow you to pursue your goals with confidence and clarity. When you protect your energy, you protect your ability to thrive. So, take a moment to evaluate. Where are you spending your energy? Is it helping you grow? Or is it distracting you from your true potential? When you start protecting your energy, you'll start making strides toward your success, and you'll wonder why you didn't do it sooner. Protecting your energy, the key to consistent growth and success. Picking up where we left off, let's dive into how to protect your energy and make sure it's invested in what truly matters. In the journey of personal growth and success, one of the hardest lessons to learn is the importance of not letting other people's opinions dictate your actions. When you realize that their words don't control your future, you set yourself free. You stop wasting time trying to change minds, trying to convince people of your worth. You stop handing over your energy to things that don't contribute to your progress. Instead, you redirect that energy where it truly belongs, on yourself, on your growth, and on the things that actually move you forward. You start putting your time into your goals, into your peace, into your progress. This shift allows you to stop reacting to every little thing and start responding only to what truly matters. You develop a level of discipline that keeps you focused, no matter what's going on around you. Now, let me tell you something important. When you start moving like this, people will notice. They may not understand it at first. They may wonder why you've stopped engaging in the nonsense, why you no longer feel the need to explain yourself, or why you don't react the way you used to. But eventually they will see it. They'll see the growth. They'll see the peace. They'll see the results that come when you stop wasting your energy and start using it wisely. Guarding your energy, a powerful strategy for success from this moment forward. I want you to guard your energy like your life depends on it, because, in many ways, it does. Be intentional, be selective, and most of all, be focused. Because when you learn to protect your energy, nothing and no one can stop you from becoming exactly who you were meant to be. A lot of people want success, but not everyone is willing to stay consistent. They get excited about a new goal, a new plan, or a new vision for their life. But when the excitement fades, so does their effort. They start strong, but the moment things get difficult, or progress isn't happening as fast as they want, they slow down. They begin looking for shortcuts, for quick results, for an easier way. But here's the thing: real success doesn't come from doing something once in a while. It comes from showing up every single day, even when no one is watching, even when no one is clapping, even when it feels like nothing is happening. The people who truly succeed in life aren't the ones who talk the most. They aren't the ones who make the biggest announcements, telling everyone what they're going to do. No, they are the ones who work in silence, the ones who commit to the process even when it's hard. They're the ones who show up for themselves, day in and day out, without needing outside validation. Consistency is the secret to success. These individuals understand that consistency is the secret. It's not about making big, flashy moves all the time. Success is built from small, disciplined actions repeated over time. Yet, too many people want results without the necessary discipline. They want success without sacrifice. They want to skip the hard part and jump straight to the reward. And when things don't happen fast enough, they start making excuses. They blame circumstances. They blame others. They blame everything but themselves. But the truth is, success doesn't work like that. You don't get to skip the process. You don't get to avoid the hard work. You either stay consistent, or you stay stuck in the same place. Think about it. How many times have you seen someone start something with a burst of motivation, only to quit a few weeks later? How many times have you yourself committed to something, only to let it fade when life got in the way? The difference between those who make it and those who don't, that's the difference between those who make it and those who don't. The people who succeed don't rely on motivation alone. Motivation comes and goes. Instead, they rely on discipline. They rely on habits. They rely on the understanding that success is built in the moments when you don't feel like showing up, but you do it anyway. Some of you are sitting on dreams that could change your life, but you're waiting for the right time, the right mood, the right circumstances. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow, next week, next year. But deep down, you know the truth. There is no perfect time. There is no perfect moment. The only thing that matters is what you do right now. Action over excuses. Starting today, if you're not willing to stay consistent in the present, you'll never see the future you've been dreaming of. The secret to success is simple. The key to success is showing up every single day, even when it's hard. It's about putting in the effort even when no one is watching, and staying focused on your own path. You're already making progress by being here, by reading these words, by taking the first step. Now it's time to take the next one. It's time to stop waiting for permission, for validation, or for the perfect moment. The moment to start is now. Every step you take today brings you closer to the success that is uniquely yours. Remember, you're on your own journey, and the only person you need to impress is yourself. Keep building, keep moving forward, and let your actions speak louder than words. Because when you consistently put in the work, when you protect your energy and focus on your growth, you'll be unstoppable. Moving in silence, the key to protecting your vision and achieving successes, we continue to explore the theme of staying focused on your path. It's time to dive deeper into one of the most powerful strategies for success: moving in silence. The concept may sound simple, but it's one that many overlook. It's about more than just keeping quiet. It's about strategically protecting your energy and your focus from the distractions that can pull you off course. Let me ask you this. Have you ever found yourself sharing your plans, your goals, or your dreams with others, only to later feel doubt creeping in? Or maybe you've been waiting for validation, approval, or praise before even taking the first step. If so, you've likely given away your power without even realizing it. When you talk too much, when you announce every move you're going to make, you give people the opportunity to plant seeds of doubt. You open the door for distractions to creep in. And the worst part? You start seeking approval instead of focusing on execution. The power of silence in protecting your focus. When you move in silence, when you stay locked in on your goals, no one can interfere with your progress. The beauty of this is that people will notice the results before they notice your efforts. They won't see the late nights, the early mornings, or the sacrifices you make. They won't see the days when you wanted to quit, but you kept going anyway. But when the results start showing, when your consistency starts paying off, people will start wondering, how did they do it? They'll think it happened overnight, but they won't realize that it was all the hard work you put in when no one was watching that made all the difference. This is why consistency is key, even when it feels like no one cares, even when it feels like no one sees you. The truth is, the process will always test you before it rewards you. It will ask you, how bad do you want it? It will push you to keep going when quitting feels like the easier choice. Consistency and patience. The path to success. If you can stay consistent through those hard days, through the moments when nothing seems to be working, through the doubts and the setbacks, success is inevitable. So, whatever it is you're working on, whatever dream you're chasing, stay consistent. Keep moving in silence and keep showing up, even when it feels like it's all for nothing. The noise around you, understanding the distractions. Most people don't realize how much noise surrounds them every single day. It's the noise of opinions, distractions, doubts, and unnecessary conversations. If you're not careful, that noise will drown out your voice. It will pull you in 100 different directions until you forget why you even started in the first place. That's why, at some point, you have to shut it all out. You have to make the conscious decision to block out distractions, to separate yourself from people and things that do nothing but slow you down. Because if you don't, you will spend your entire life reacting instead of creating, listening instead of leading, following instead of building. You'll find yourself stuck in a cycle that only leads to frustration. Not everyone will understand your journey. Not everyone is meant to understand your journey. Not everyone will support what you're doing. Some people won't believe in you. Some will doubt you. Some will even try to discourage you, not because they truly know what's best for you, but because they don't have the courage to do what you're doing. When they see you growing, when they see you breaking free from the limits they've accepted for themselves, it makes them uncomfortable. It forces them to question their own choices. And instead of rising higher, they try to bring you down to their level. But here's the key: that is not your concern. You do not owe anyone an explanation for your growth. You do not need permission to become who you were meant to be. Carrying the weight of others' expectations. Some of you are carrying the weight of others' expectations, their doubts, their fears, and it's slowing you down. You're hesitating, second-guessing, overthinking because you're too worried about what people will say. But let me tell you something important. What they think does not matter. They are not the ones who will have to live with the consequences of your choices. You are. If you spend your life trying to make everyone else comfortable, you will never fully step into your own potential. That's why you have to learn to move in silence, to protect your vision, and to stop allowing outside voices to control your direction. Because when you start elevating, distractions will increase. The more you grow, the more people will have opinions about what you should or shouldn't be doing. And if you give them too much attention, you'll start adjusting your actions to fit their expectations instead of your own purpose. But here's the truth. The people who truly succeed in life understand something most people don't. They understand that silence is power. They understand that discipline is their greatest ally. They've mastered the art of staying focused on their own path, no matter what the noise around them says. The art of moving in silence doesn't mean you're hiding or playing small. It means you're protecting your energy and your focus. It means you trust yourself and the process enough to know that what's meant for you will come in its own time. You don't need to broadcast every move, every success, or every goal. You just keep working in silence, knowing that your results will speak for themselves. In the end, the only opinion that matters is your own. The only approval you need is your own. You are the creator of your own path. So stay consistent, stay silent when you need to, and keep moving toward your goals with the knowledge that success will come when the time is right. Because when you finally reach your destination, you won't need to say a word. Your achievements will speak louder than anything else ever could. And that's the power of moving in silence. The power of moving forward in silence and focus, reflecting on what we've discussed. The core lesson remains clear. True strength comes from moving forward, even when the world around you doesn't fully understand your vision. There are those who move in silence, not because they are hiding something, but because they are focused on what truly matters. They know that their success doesn't depend on being understood by everyone. And so, they continue pushing forward even when no one else sees what they see or believes what they believe. The fear of big dreams and the need for validation. Some of you have dreams so big that they scare you. And because they scare you, you look for reassurance. You want someone to tell you that you're on the right track. You seek confirmation before you take the next step. But let me ask you this. What do you do when the people around you can't see what you see? What happens when those you look to for support don't believe in your vision? Do you stop? Do you shrink your dreams to fit their small perspective? Or do you keep going, even when no one else understands? The trap of waiting for validation. Truth is, you cannot afford to wait for validation. You cannot afford to slow down just because the people around you don't get it yet. You have to be willing to move forward even in silence, even in uncertainty, even when no one else believes in you. Your belief starts with you. No one will take you seriously until you take yourself seriously. No one will trust your vision until you trust it first. And the more you rely on external validation, the weaker your foundation becomes. Surround yourself with the right energy. That's why it's so important to be intentional about what you listen to, who you allow in your space, and the mindset you expose yourself to. If you surround yourself with people who doubt, who hesitate, or who always focus on the worst-case scenario, that mindset will rub off on you. But if you surround yourself with discipline, with focus, with the kind of silence that builds instead of distracts, you will move differently. You will carry yourself with a quiet confidence that doesn't need to be explained or justified. The power of focus and self-responsibility. The end of the day, your life is your responsibility. Your success, your growth, your peace, it all depends on the choices you make. And one of the most powerful choices you can make is to shut out the distractions, to stop seeking approval, and to move forward with purpose. When you do that, nothing and no one can stop you. Shutting out the noise and rising above your journey is yours alone. The distractions, the opinions, the comparisons, none of it truly matters. What matters is your focus, your discipline, and your ability to move forward. Even when no one else understands, the world is full of noise. People will always have opinions, doubts, and expectations. But the ones who rise above it are the ones who learn to stay silent, protect their energy, and work in the shadows until their success speaks for itself. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need validation to be great. What you need is consistency, resilience, and the courage to stay committed even when the results aren't immediate. You don't need applause to know you're on the right track. Move in silence, the unstoppable force of consistencio. Stop looking round. Stop explaining yourself. Stop waiting for approval. Focus on yourself and move in silence. When you do this, your growth will be undeniable. One day, the world won't be able to ignore the person you've become. And that is the beauty of consistency. It's the power of discipline. It's the strength found in staying committed to your own vision, even when no one else believes in it. Let your work speak louder than any words ever could. When you keep moving forward, relentlessly and without hesitation, success will find its way to you. And at that moment, the world will look back and realize just how unstoppable you truly are.